He's the one presenting.
I will call the regular meeting for Tuesday, April 19th, 2022 to order. The time is 6:30. If everybody please rise for a moment of silence, followed by pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is consent agenda. We have March 1st, 2022, City Council regular meeting minutes, March 15th, 2022, regular council or City Council regular meeting minutes, and March 25th, 2022, City Council special meeting minutes. We go and throw financials in there too, since they're separated. Okay, then item B is financial report for March 2022. I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
One comment, the finance transparency online, it only has February. It doesn't have any of March.
Yes, ma'am. It'll be updated tomorrow.
On the expenditure summary page, at the bottom, it's for human resource expenses.
Yes. It is slightly higher this month, and that's, well, it was actually last month as well. And that is the partially due to the startup costs with Paylocity, the new payroll system provider that we have.
Okay, and EDC expenses, did we need to buy a new computer?
Yes, we did.
And how much was it?
Almost $1,800.
It was a refurb, as a matter of fact, and we did have to buy it because his crashed.
Now back on the Paylocity and being over, so we'll have to do a line item adjustment.
Yes, there'll be a budget
Later on.
amendment to follow.
Okay.
Correct.
Any other questions? Poll the council.
Place 1,
Aye.
place 2,
Aye.
place 3,
Aye.
place 4,
Aye.
place 5,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Okay, Craig. 5 presentations.
We don't have any tonight, sir.
Okay. Trying to get used to this new format. So, okay, next item, citizens' comments. Item A, Anthony Villagomez addressing the council related to a complaint of an at-home business.
And just so council's aware, Mr. Gomez did submit a request to appear before council and have this item listed on the agenda, so you may interact with him on this item.
Good evening, council. Thank you for your time. I just want to bring to your attention that the residents at Noble 300 Avenue had leased the house, but within a year, and then she turned the house into a studio where she charges anywhere from $250 an hour to $675 for 3 hours. She also leaves the house when a lot of people are still in the house when they come in. So basically, she leases the house, but then she has a photographer who then brings out people in to take pictures. There's always constant cars coming in and going, especially on the weekends. It looks like a garage sale going on the way it is. And I just think it's not fair that she makes more money than pretty much the average business in Everman, and she's not really paying any taxes. And she promotes it like it's from Dallas as well too. You can see on her Instagram, I had sent pictures and email before to the city coordinates and videos to showing how people also stay on the parking lot. I mean, on the side of the streets. She also takes up parking spots from other people's houses, so relatives can't really come and visit. So I just feel like it's, it needs to be to attention, because she's not paying any taxes or anything, and it's a residential area and she's treating it like a business. So that's all.
And if I can just add, Mr. Villagomez came in and he did visit and file a complaint with code enforcement as well as myself. The current ordinances within planning and zoning do not regulate photography studios being ran out of homes. It is not an exempted item. Home businesses do occur. And therefore, there wasn't really enough stance for us to take any enforcement action based on the information that we have currently. So I think what Mr. Villagomez is trying to convey to the council is that he's wanting to seek counsel to, I guess, amend the ordinance or take some other sort of enforcement action. I did attach with his request to appear the section 8.2 home occupations code, which underneath that section, there is a section within here, section E, prohibited home-based businesses that strictly prohibits certain business types. Photography studio is not listed here. There is a section within this ordinance that says if a determination is made by the code compliance officer or the city manager that the home-based business is having a negative impact or effect on the neighborhood, the city manager may place this on the first meeting of the city council after notifying the property owner in writing for final determination. If the council wishes to pursue that, I'm happy to do that. There just has not been enough evidence so far for us to pursue that avenue. The only evidence that we've been able to compile is that she does have a lease. She is listed here with the city as having a lease to reside there. It is showing to be her primary place of occupancy. Whether it is or isn't, we don't have proof otherwise. Therefore, we're abided by the zoning code at this point to assume that she's well within her rights to operate a business out of her home.
Have any other residents complained about the cars?
Not to the city, no.
May I add one thing? She doesn't stay at the house. You can ask any of the neighbors. She doesn't really stay at the house. I work at nights. So when I leave at night, when I come in the morning, she's not there. So she lives in Plano, actually. I know that for a fact. Her name is Rachel. So that's how I know for a fact that she doesn't stay there. You can go to the house too. I mean, you look on the Instagram, there doesn't show any signs of the house being livable because the whole house is occupied basically as a studio front to take pictures. And like I said, she advertises like she's from Dallas. She has it all over Instagram, all over Facebook. So, I mean, I just don't understand why she has it advertised like it's from Dallas when it's not in Dallas. You can check the Instagram. I mean, I have, like I said, I've seen all the information. And I have a lot of pictures too. I have taken pictures when I leave the house and when I come back from the house and to show the parking, there's no one at the house. It's always vacant.
Well,
And I can send all that.
Craig, the conversation we had earlier too, even if we came in and changed our rules to where they couldn't have it there, she would still be grandfathered in.
Most likely, I think where we're at is there being enough physical evidence. I understand his position in
Yeah.
saying that it appears on the Instagram that she's not residing there. However, we don't have a valid method of proof that she's not.
Right.
She has produced a residential lease to the city. Therefore, I think she's abided by all the guidelines that we have set forth. I don't know that we have any ground to stand on to do otherwise. Now, if council does want to hold a hearing on it and ask her to appear, we can certainly go that route as it states within the ordinance and investigate further. But I think city staff has taken this as far as they can within our legal realm of responsibility here.
Okay, a couple of things are bothering me. First off, if she's running a business there, she needs some kind of business identity, and we need to be getting revenue from her tax-wise from her business that she's operating within the city.
That is correct, but the city doesn't enforce that. The state comptroller's office does. So a complaint would need to be filed with the state comptroller's office.
Okay, who would need to file that?
Probably Mr. Villagomez, I would imagine, or us if we have enough proof that she's running a legitimate business that charges out there. I just don't know that we've got enough proof to do that.
Right, well, we need to look into that, because I don't begrudge anybody a business where they are supposed to be doing their business, but fair is fair. Wherever you are, you need to be paying your fair share of taxes to whatever entity you're living in. Also, it seems a little dishonest to say you are a Dallas business, but clearly you are in the next county to the west in a small city tucked away somewhere. And that seems, I guess in this day and age of the media doing what they want to do and saying what they want to say, I guess she can do it too. But it seems unethical to advertise yourself as a Dallas business, yet you're right here in this tiny little town of Everman. That seems unethical.
Well,
I think the argument would be the Dallas Cowboys are based in Arlington. I don't know that we would have, and I'm not trying to be funny, I don't know that we would have much say in what the name of the business would be. And I don't know that that would give us any legal grounds to move forward on something.
I'm just grumbling.
No, I understand.
What
I
about our-
understand.
What about our zoning being residential? And if it is a business,
But you can't
Then it
have,
falls underneath the home occupations portion of that zoning
Right.
ordinance. People are allowed to operate businesses out of their home as long as it complies with the home occupations
Yes.
that section 8.2.
Yeah.
Which this one is
This
not,
gives her leave to
we're not
do that.
finding anything that identifies this one
Yes.
as violating that.
Right.
ordinance.
Like I said, I don't,
Between a rock and a hard place here.
well, like I don't want her to stop what she's doing. Like I couldn't care less. It's just I just think it's not fair that what she's doing, she's getting away with a lot of stuff. You know, just like a
Yes.
drug dealer. You know, you can do whatever you want. You make money. You don't pay your dues. You know, the way it's set up. If you go on the Saturday, if you go on the week on the Saturday and Sunday, you'll see a lot of cars like it's a garage sale, and they'll be switching cars. They'll come, and sometimes they even park the right way. They park on the opposite way, so they basically park however they want to park.
Well, it's a public street. They can park on either side of the street.
No, but what I'm saying is like the opposite way. You know how you're supposed to park on the right
Oh, I
side, facing
see.
the opposite way. It's like,
Well,
yeah.
that's a police officer.
And I had
thing.
called it before, and they
We
had
need
came in
tickets.
before, and they had called it before, but I stopped calling because, like I said, they do it a lot, and we don't have that many police officers to begin with in the city of Everman. So that's why I also felt like, you know, if she can get taxed, will help it as well too for the police department, you know, because she's making a lot of money, and that money can go towards the city. I've been living here for more than 20 years, and I know damn well we don't have a lot of police officers, and we get a lot of people living here. So.
I gotta just address it. We can't cuss.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, I'm sorry for cussing. But like, I've been living here for 20 years, and like I said, I still never seen a lot of police officers. And there's a lot of people growing. I mean, there's a lot of the community is growing, violence has been growing, and we don't have the police support we need to get. And I feel like there's this one perfect example that if we can figure out how to tax her the right way, so then she can continue with her business, but at the same time contribute to the city as a citizen.
Pardon me, what kind of business is this?
Photography. It's like
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right over there, block or two, yeah. Well, sir, we thank you for bringing it to our attention. It looks like there's stuff we could do, but we don't have a leg to stand on. She's like sliding in between.
So she's gonna get away with it? Is that basically what I'm understanding?
That's what they've just been saying, that we have no hard and fast law in place
So
to
I can just
prevent any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Only thing we could do is ask her to appear before council. Craig, is that what you said earlier?
Yeah, according, unless you provide some sort of amendment. Alan, is there anything that you can weigh in on this with? Sorry, I know you kind of just jumped on and I'm throwing you under a bus here.
No, that's fine. It's, first of all, you'd have to figure out if this photography, if it is a business that is required to pay taxes. A lot of businesses aren't. That is like, for instance, attorneys, they don't pay sales tax and stuff like that. So, but the other thing is if it is a permissible home occupation, which it doesn't sound like she's occupying it as a home. And if that's the case, then that is an avenue to pursue to determine whether it is a lawful home occupation that she is operating a business out of. So that would be my thoughts from the hip as I join the conversation midstream here.
Okay, so what it sounds like Mayor's recommendation would probably be to, where's that section at? I'm sorry, give me just a second. Would probably be to go ahead and move forward with placing this on the first meeting of the city council, the next city council meeting. And we will send her a written notice asking her to appear before council for a final determination and asking her to provide evidence that she does reside there. I can
Yes.
tell you we have a lease. I do know that that has already been supplied to the city, is that she does have a lease. But we'll ask her to provide that evidence as well. if council
That she's
wishes.
living there.
Well,
Okay.
we can pull her water account too and see
There
if
is
they're
an active-
actually using,
There is an active water account. That's where the lease was attached to.
but I'm just curious how much water they're using, if it's
Okay.
what a
Yes.
normal household would be using, or if it's considerably less. So
But if that's her main residence, where she resides, if he's saying she lives in Plano, that's.
What's her driver's license? Address on her-
I have not ran
No,
the-
I mean, she needs to provide that.
Oh, okay.
like Craig said, though, it's gonna be kind of hard to prove.
Voter registration.
We will schedule that on the,
Thank
on
you.
the next meeting. Yes, ma'am.
We'll leave the burden on her. She needs to bring
Yes,
proof
she
that she
does.
does reside at that residence, and she needs to appear before council.
Verifiable evidence, not zero.
Is everybody good with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Be on our next
sir.
month's, the first meeting next month?
Be the first, no, the first available meeting for the city council. So it'll be next city council meeting.
Yes,
Yes. That would be the first meeting.
Yes.
You're right.
I knew, right?
Okay, so next item, item B is public hearing. Well, let's see, we're gonna open a public hearing to hear citizens' comments related to the consideration adoption of the land use assumptions and capital improvement plan. And the time is 6:46. So we have opened up to public hearing.
And before we give or allow any citizen comments related to this, Mr. Aaron Frick is here. He's from Cobb Finley. He did provide a presentation that I have printed off and put in front of you. I'm also going to share my screen so you have that presentation in front of you as well. But I will turn the floor over to him to move forward with his presentation. Am I saying it right? It's pretty freaky. Gosh, darn it. I apologize.
Good evening, council, mayor. Name's Aaron Fricky with Cobb Finley, and I'm working on the impact fee study for the city of Everman. And before we can get in the impact fee study, we have to do a land use assumption and capital improvements plan. And that's what we've done. I think we provided this to the public a little over a month ago. It had to be 30 days before this hearing. And I put together just a short summary of a slideshow that just covers covers in a nutshell what this is about and why we do this. I don't get too busy with my slides, but I just put something together. I don't know if y'all have read this or if you have any questions regarding this land use assumptions and capital improvement plan. But this is the first step so that we can take the next step to actually calculate what kind of impact fees we can pass on to future development. So, land use assumptions as defined by the the local government code, section chapter 395, says the description of services, service area, and projections of changes in land uses, densities, intensities, and population over a 10-year period. Basically, this is where we look at the population growth. We look at historical trends. We look at current where we're sitting, and we try to project in the future by looking at the potential development, working with the city about what development, which developers have asked for permits in developing property and what's coming so that we can prepare, we can put together a population that we're going to have to serve with the city's infrastructure on water and sewer. We use the zoning map to produce a land use map. So if the zoning says it's residential, the residential usage on water is different than commercial or industrial. So we use the zoning map to look at these areas of growth or potential growth, and that plays into our land use map. And of course, current and future land uses. Some areas might be zoned as agriculture right now, but they might be a prime area to be, or they're zoned agriculture because that's what's existing and there's no houses in that area. But as a developer might buy that, we can anticipate that a developer might buy it and turn it into a single family residential area. And if we hear word of development coming to the area, we can use those for our land use map to determine the future of the population in Everman. Next slide, please. So I included this because it's always interesting to look at cities' growth. There's been some interesting growth in the Metroplex as well as all across Texas. As you can see, this is the past 10 years, and you can see the line of Everman. It's kind of been pretty constant for 10 years. But there are some areas of the town that are still available for development. And we've projected with we have a certified planner who has projected that we have with the growth that's on the horizon and the areas that are available in the next 10 years, we can see it's about 700, almost 700 citizens growth wise. So I just included this to show you that there is expected growth coming up. Of course, there's some residential areas that are already developing. I just included the land use map. It's in your packet. This shows what they're we expect them to be residential or agriculture. And then with that information from the land use assumptions, that tells us the areas that we can grow into. So on the engineering side, we come up with a capital improvements plan to determine what facilities, water and sewer, are needed to support that growth. So we also look at your existing facilities. You have existing water lines and sewer lines in the city right now. Those water lines and sewer lines they can support future growth. They might be oversized currently. So if it's 80% capacity right now, but has another 20% available, we can actually pass on costs to developers because they're consuming infrastructure capacity that the city has already paid for. So it helps development pay for the impacts on the city. So I look at existing facilities and which existing facilities have to be increased to support growth. If it happens in an area that's already built out all around them, those lines are built to serve that area. If a large development comes in and it requires us to upsize lines, water or sewer, then we can take that difference of cost and pass it on to the developer. A certain percentage we can pass on to them. And proposed facilities, of course, if we do know that development's coming, we can anticipate that we have to run a certain size line to reach that development, to serve them with water or to take their sewer to take it to the appropriate facilities. Next slide, please. I just included these. This is the two lists of water projects and sewer projects. I've worked with the city. I've worked with the city engineer that's doing their projects right now, and looked at a list of what projects they already have that they would like to do in the future that are just aging infrastructure. And then I've added some to it that are in anticipation of the areas that we see growth. And this is by no means a list that has to be done in a certain amount of time, but this is in the next 10 years, we're saying with projects we currently want to complete, as well as projects to keep up with growth, these would be some projects that we need to include. And approving the land use assumptions and the capital improvements plan that we've come up with gets us to the next steps. We can start calculating how much we can pass on to future development.
A lot.
So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer questions.
Is it lined out which projects are first?
Which projects are what?
First,
they're kind of in order, like the city. They're in a replacement program as pipes age, if pipes break, they go higher on the priority, but the city gave me a list of projects that they would like to do, and I just put them in order. I just labeled them 1 through whatever. I put the new ones closer to the bottom, the ones that are for the proposed growth. If you look on the water map or the water table, W15, 16, and 17 are all anticipated water lines for future growth. And then on the sewer, the wastewater table, S06 through S10, those are all projected for future growth. So that's the only prioritization that there is.
okay, so Craig, are any of the ones that we have projects coming up, are they on here? The ones that are covered over the what is ARPA funds?
Yes, we do have those projects listed within here as well,
Okay.
specifically underneath the portion that Aaron was talking about existing infrastructure. He wants to know the details and cost of the new water wells, the upgrades that we're currently doing. So those are all being calculated in there as well.
We have any other questions, discussion?
So Mayor, on this, what we'll need to do next is open it up for any citizens' comments that you may want to hear or the council needs to hear. And then following that, you close the public hearing, and then we'll move down to this is listed as an action item this evening. If councils want to move forward on acting on that, then we'll discuss more details about it as well. Then there'll be another opportunity there.
Okay, so we'll open the public hearing. Anybody has any comments?
One of them got up and walked off.
I guess not. So public hearing is closed.
Okay.
The time is 6:55.
Took 20 seconds.
So we'll drop down to consideration possible action. Item A, approve ordinance 779, an ordinance of the city of Everman, Texas, adopting land use assumptions and a capital improvements plan for 2022-2032 in accordance with chapter 395 of the Texas Local Government Code, making various provisions related to the subject and providing for an effective date. So I will entertain a motion.
I move we approve ordinance number 779 as read.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? Would you poll the council?
Place one,
Aye.
place two,
Aye.
place three,
Aye.
place four,
Aye.
place five,
Aye.
place six,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Next item, approve the appointment of Susan Mackey to the.
Mayor,
Yes.
could I get your attention for a second? Since you approved the ordinance, can y'all go ahead and set the next public hearing at the next meeting in May? That's a public hearing to consider whether to adopt the impact fees by order or resolution. It's just an additional step. Basically, it gives you 2 public hearings. And adopting the ordinance was fine today. You just need to go ahead and set that next public hearing, which would be May 3rd, the next city council meeting.
Yeah, so we'll just need to entertain I think, and Alan, I'm sorry, I talked to Dottie a little bit ago. I think she was going to prepare a resolution for council to consider on May 3rd to set the hearing for June 7th.
Correct, and that's just whether to adopt the impact fees by order or resolution. And that's kind of a rolling thing as things go down the road as well.
Okay.
They'll be reexamined at different times.
So he's wanting to entertain a motion to set a public hearing for May 3rd.
Okay.
Related to the adoption of impact fees.
So do we just make
Yes.
all right, I move that we adopt the impact fees.
No, I'm sorry.
Public hearing.
You schedule a public hearing.
I move that we schedule a public hearing for May 3rd
Yes, ma'am.
to consider adopting impact fees by order of resolution.
Second.
That was a mouthful.
Motion been made and second. Any further discussion? Would you poll the council?
Place one,
Aye.
place two,
Aye.
place three,
Aye.
place four,
Aye.
place five.
Aye.
Place six,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
That good enough, Alan?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I apologize for the interruption, but thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, so now we'll go down to item B, approve the appointment of Susan Mackey to the Everman Public Library Board.
I'll make a motion that we approve Susie Mackey as to the Everman Public Library Board.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? Poll the council?
Place one,
Aye.
place two,
Aye.
place three,
Aye.
place four.
Abstain.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Place five,
Aye.
place six,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
We will take care of the swearing in at another point.
You gonna swear at me?
No, you're going to swear at us.
Oh,
Okay, item C, approve interlocal agreement between the city of Everman and the town of Edgecliff Village for rabies control and the shared use of the city of Everman animal shelter. I'll entertain a motion.
okay, I move we approve the interlocal agreement between the city of Everman and the town of Edgecliff Village for rabies control, as read.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Mayor, I've got an explanation for this. So we recently did this very similar ILA, well, exactly the same ILA with the city of Kennedale. Town of Edgecliff Village got themselves into a bad position to where they lost the contract with who they were utilizing to house their animals. They reached over to us on an emergency basis when they had an animal that needed a place, they needed a place to put a dog that they had captured. And we obliged them with that, but I told them I really want to get an agreement in place, especially when it comes to animals, because you're talking about somebody who owns property. An animal is somebody's property, so I want to make sure that we have the appropriate agreements in place. for these future instances. They have roughly 2 to 3 animals a year that they need a place to put it. And I've got no problem with us pursuing forward with this. I just wanted to make sure we had an agreement in place so we were covered as quickly as possible. This agreement is only temporary throughout the rest of the budget year. We're going to come back to the table with them as we work with the Animal Control Advisory Board on moving forward with what we've been working on as far as the Tri-City Animal Control Program. So,
So they don't have an ACO officer at all?
no, they do not have an ACO officer
No.
at all. Their Public Works Department is the one who they're the ones who capture the animals. They just need a place to take them. They're going to bring them to us. We're just going to take care of housing that animal and either getting it adopted out or turned over to Humane Society.
What have they had in the past?
That's it. That's it.
Another city.
Oh, they had another city in
Well, no, they
that.
didn't have they have never had an animal control officer. It's their Public Works that runs it. It's their
But
public.
where do they put their animals?
They took them to Keller. There was a private entity in Keller, a private company, not the city of Keller, a private entity in Keller. That entity reached out to them and said, well, we're only getting 3 animals a year, so I need to make my money. We're going to charge you $23,000 a year. And they got themselves into a pretty bad position. They didn't have any place to take them. So I have no
Okay.
problem. I had no
Okay.
problem helping them out. And
So
I
this is
recommend
only
that.
to shelter the animals.
This is it, just to shelter
2
the
to
animals,
3
not
a year,
providing
maybe.
ACO services, just
Okay.
sheltering. them. Almost the exact same agreement we have with the city of Kennedale right now, where we'll house their animals.
Okay, you know, the Animal Control Board is going to be watching this, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
we don't want to get overwhelmed with 43 cities animals.
Right.
Or 12
Right.
cities animals. I'm just
And ACO
throwing that
just
out there.
recently
The
posted
concern
on
of the
Facebook,
ACO officer
they didn't
running-
have any more room. They were wanting people to
Yes,
foster and adopt.
yeah, our ACOs are some of the best in the business at getting these animals out. So usually when they make a post like that, our population fluctuates up and down so often. We'll get full, 2 days later, they've got it emptied. They've figured out a way to get them all out to Humane Society or somewhere. They very, very rarely have to put an animal down, and when they do, it's typically only because of an injury, or it's just unadoptable. It's deemed unadoptable. So I don't think we've ever put an animal down due to population, and that's a great little
Yes,
caveat to have. So
I'm just concerned.
okay, yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? Poll the council.
Place 1,
Aye.
place 2,
Aye.
place 3,
Aye.
place 4,
Aye.
place 5,
Aye.
place 6,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carries.
Next item D, approve interlocal agreement between the city of Everman and Tarrant County for the Everman Emergency Services Dispatch Services Upgrade. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the interlocal agreement between the city of Everman and Tarrant County for the Everman Emergency Services Dispatch Service Upgrade.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Got anything on this, Craig?
the only thing that I can give a brief explanation on this. This was a application through Tarrant County with all the dispatch work that we've been doing. We worked with 911 initially to receive funding for additional radio consoles and upgrades, as well as emergency generator to power the dispatch center. 911 was not able to assist us with that and made the recommendation that we request the funds from Tarrant County through their American Rescue Plan Funds Act. Commissioner Brooks supported that along with Tarrant County Fire Marshal Randy Renoir. And with the support of the county, they were able to get this passed at the county level. And so they have agreed to fund us the $600,000+ necessary to get us brand new radio equipment, consoles, IP recorder, and emergency backup generator for the police department. So this is free money. We just have to have the interlocal agreement in place and approved to receive it. This will not be a reimbursement style. So once this agreement is approved and they've taken care of everything they need to at their end, they're going to transfer those funds to the city of Everman. We'll track that just like any other grant and have to comply with reporting requirements set forth by the county.
Does this have anything to do with enlarging and opening up to more dispatchers, et cetera?
This is part of the Tarrant County Fire Alarm merge,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
That is why they were
Okay.
on board with funding this.
Okay,
And
Yes.
when will this take place?
As soon as this agreement's finalized, I'm placing the order for the equipment.
No, I mean with the other, with Tarrant County
We're
and
hoping,
the dispatchers.
we're hoping to have it up and running before the new budget. So by October 1st, that's our goal.
and approximately how many dispatchers are we gonna have at any one time?
at any one time, 4 to 5 dispatchers on at a time.
Okay,
A
cool.
total, we're adding an additional 15 personnel total.
That's cool. Where are they gonna park?
In the back, we're getting a brand new parking lot in the back, thanks to Tarrant County and the donated recycled asphalt.
Okay, been meaning to ask that for quite a
Yes,
while.
ma'am.
Excellent.
Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Poll the council.
Place one. Aye. Place two,
Aye.
place three,
Aye.
place four,
Aye.
place five,
Aye.
place six,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Next item, discussion items. Item A, Waste Connections price adjustment based on consumer price index, solid waste contract, section 12.A.
All right, this is to just make council aware. I understand recently I've gotten complaints regarding trash, so I want to make sure that you were aware of this as soon as I received it. But we did receive notice, which is in accordance with the contract. They are complying with the contract. That Waste Connections plans on increasing their cost by 4.1%. That'll of course be a pass-through cost on the water bill to the citizens.
Right.
That is compliant with their contract. I know this question's coming up, so I'm already going to answer it. Their contract is good until 2023, at which time it'll be up for renewal. That's really it. I mean,
What is the city going to do about the problems that we're continuing to have?
The only thing that we can do is well, we can do a couple of different things, but I think that's something that we would need to consult with the city attorney on, probably within an executive session at some point. Their increases is compliant with the contract. If council wishes to pursue options with this contract, I think that's something that we would need to talk with the city attorney on. Alan, do you have anything to kind of add there?
Sorry, I was muted. No, I agree totally. If we're talking about some type of issues with the contract, that should be an executive session, and we shouldn't be telegraphing any punches in a open session. I don't really know the details that y'all are talking about regarding the contract, but that would be a much better situation for the city council to discuss any issues like that.
So this contract is, it's something that's established between city council and the provider. So if we want to discuss this, and I would recommend that we put this on the May 3rd agenda as an executive session item. And we'll ask the attorney to be present so we can go into executive session and discuss the items you council would wish to discuss related to the contract. Is that good? Is that what we want to
Yes.
do? Okay. So we'll plan on doing that, but as of now, I just wanted to make sure council was aware to anticipate a 4.1% increase that will be reflected on the water bills to the citizens.
Now, did we ever figure out how much that is per household? The 4.1%?
No, I did not, but I will, and I will send that out to all of council so everybody knows exactly the dollar
Thank
amount it's going to be impact. I should have done that before. I'm sorry.
Anything else on that? Okay, next item is U.S. Appropriations Committee fiscal year 23 Community Project Funding Opportunity, Congressman Mark Veazey.
All right, so on April the 8th, I think it was, following our last city council meeting, I received notice from Congressman Mark Veazey's office that they have opened up the House Appropriations Committee Community Project Funding Grant again, and that we qualified and they were requesting any projects that we might wish to submit. I began reviewing and the deadline was Friday. So I literally got a few day deadline and I had to turn something back around and into them. So again, my notice was not very long and I had to do something to act. So based off the input and the things that we've discussed and the capital improvement projects that we've been trying to achieve, I did submit a project request to his office. This project request is focused on storm drainage improvement along South Race Street. I did request that the city engineer go ahead and draft a conceptual opinion of probable cost with that. And I need to make council aware that a total storm drainage overhaul of Race Street and Christie Avenue is projected at well over $5 million. The portion of this STAG grant, it would actually require the city to contribute 20% match. We're not in a position to provide a 20% match of $5 million. So therefore, I asked the engineer very bluntly, what would be the more beneficial project, Race or Christie? And he said Race Street would be the more beneficial because it would capture the water and prevent the majority of it from flowing down to Christie. So we took just the Christie portion, I'm sorry, just the Race portion of the conceptual project that you see here, which is just over $3 million. And we did submit that as a requested project for this next year. If this project is approved, then we will have to come back as city council and see about how we would supplement that funding necessary to supply the 20% to move forward. Our recommendation, we do have a few options there between street funds, water funds, sewer funds that would make this eligible. The other catch to this project is going to be that the engineer is recommending that we go ahead and finish out the replacement of the water line underneath Race Street, as well as the sewer line underneath Race Street. I do have those cost estimates, and we're working on trying to figure out a good path forward. As we get closer to budget, we'll start talking a little bit more about that. But I did want to let council know that I did submit for a $3 million grant through Mark Vesey's office for the purposes of storm drainage on Race Street.
Excellent.
Okay, so when you say Race Street, you're saying from where to where?
Enon to Everman Parkway, all of Race, South Race. Pretty much where we're seeing a lot of the storm drainage issues on Race Street. There's no storm drainage provided along Race by Bishop Elementary or by those neighborhoods. It's poorly draining down the street. This will not, and I probably do need to go on record saying this will not solve a flood. If we get a substantial rainfall that the Chambers Creek exceeds its banks, this will not solve that. What this will solve is the roadway flooding and front yard flooding that we're seeing by getting the water off of the roadway through the MS4 storm drainage system into the creek. If the creek floods, it's still going to flood. So I just want to make sure that council is aware and citizens are aware. This is not addressing the creek flooding issue. This is addressing the street flooding issue.
Okay.
So is Christie now worse than Race?
Christie suffers more than Race does, but the majority of the water that is making it down to Christie is coming off of Race.
Yes.
That's why the engineer is recommending that we put the storm drainage system on Race to keep it from getting down to Christie. Ultimately, we need to do both projects. And once the flood study is completed by RTC and Tarrant County and all these entities that are coming in to perform the flood study, then we'll be able to apply for mitigation grants to address the creek issues, the flooding issues in the creek.
Yes.
There's not many opportunities out here that will help fund storm water. That's why I wanted to take advantage of the stormwater chance that the chance that we had here. The mitigation grants that are available will help us address the creek issues once that's done.
Are there are no longer any ARPA funds available?
We will get another round of roughly $768,000, I believe in December, January, around there. And those funds have not been allocated as of yet. So we will have another round of $768,000 that council will be able to allocate, but that's the only funding that we have anticipated coming.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, next time is executive session. We have none. City manager's report.
Just wanted to give an update on some of the related projects. The City Hall Annex Civic Center is moving right along. We did schedule the grand opening for the 15th. I did send out those invites. Again, if council has any VIPs that you would like to make sure I include on those invitations, please feel free to let me know and I'll make sure to get those out. The exterior of the building is nearly complete. You're going to begin to see some landscaping, some touch-ups and light work going in over the next couple of weeks. The water tap and fire suppression system is expected to begin sometime either later this week or next week. So they will do an open cut on Race Street in the roadway here and begin that water tap to tie into the fire suppression system to finish that out. Once that's complete, then they're going to finish out the concrete paving that'll connect the parking lot to Wichita as well as extending it to the south here. So You're going to see some progress there. The rest of the progress is kind of going to be hidden behind closed doors. Painters have started this week. They've got interior doors in, flooring is going to be going in, I believe, in the next couple of weeks. So things are progressing right along. The parking lots are all under construction. So Pittman Park is nearly complete. We anticipate that'll be done and final tomorrow. They have already started carving out the mobile food truck portion of the mobile food truck park, the U shape there. So that is underway. And Memorial Park is I would say maybe about 75% complete. So they're moving right along there. Once those projects are complete, they're going to be moving to Johnson Park, and they'll complete the east parking lot of Johnson Park before then moving to the Police Department Public Works lot and finishing that out. The Christopher Drive is expected to begin right around March 4th to 6th. They're going to begin the construction there.
May.
I'm sorry, May, thank you. May 4th to 6th. So you can expect construction to begin in that timeline. It'll take approximately 2 weeks. And then they're going to move from Christopher to Ray Street right after that. So around May 23rd, they should be starting on Ray Street, and that'll take an additional 2 weeks. So Ray Street will be complete. The Wichita crack fill and reseal job with new striping will be complete. The traffic pattern will be changed before the ribbon cutting of the Civic Center. So all that should be done right in time for the Civic Center opening.
So question, what are we fixing to do to raise?
We're about to, it's going to be a complete reconstruction of North Race from Enon all the way to Wichita Street. So they're going to have to close this road down
Okay,
and completely reconstruct it with 4-inch asphalt on top.
okay. I was just making sure it wasn't race down to Everman Parkway because we're going to be digging
No.
that up hopefully. And why are we doing
That's correct.
reconstruction for? Okay.
Correct. No, we're talking about from Enon to Wichita. We're doing the
North,
north
okay.
portion of Race this
Okay.
year. Yes, ma'am.
Now, the parking lot at the Memorial Park, are they gonna do the entire area?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I've asked the
it
same
didn't
question.
look like it. I just want to
I-
make sure we wasn't.
I've been blowing Gilbert up asking, are they going to go all the way to the fence? And
I
yes,
got a question about that.
yes.
When I drive by it, it looks like it's going to be nice brown crumbly stuff instead of a smooth asphalt parking lot.
It is recycled asphalt. So
Right.
it will not have the nice brand new street appearance.
Okay, never,
But it will be darker until the sun will eventually fade it, just like a regular asphalt road does.
but it's not going to be crumbly. I don't care what color it is.
It'll be compacted. It'll be
Okay.
compacted fairly tight, and it's not going to be a full-on asphalt tar road. When you use recycled asphalt, think of it as almost like I don't want to say a gravel. It's not that loose, but
That's
it's
what it
it's very
looks like.
it's very similar to a gravel, just not quite as loose.
First time a fire truck drives over that, we're going to be seeing fire truck tracks go
It's
across that
6
parking lot.
inches. Isn't that what they built up? It's 6 inches worth. So it'll hold some weight, and we've been reassured it'll stand up to what it is, and it's free. So it was.
Understood,
Kinda
but if
hard to
it
see.
starts looking ratty like it is now, what's the point?
I think it's a significant improvement. from
Well, yeah,
what
I'm
it was
hoping that
before.
I'm hoping that it's stronger than what I think it's gonna.
Yes, I think you'll be impressed with the strength of it.
Well,
Gilbert's been out there as well.
Gilbert said, with the truck or the vehicle traffic on it, that packs it down with the rain. And the environmental things go with it, it packs down and it'll
Okay.
actually become hard.
So
Okay,
is Pittman
So-
parking finished?
It will be tomorrow.
Are they gonna stripe it?
No, because it is a recycle as well. We'll get back to you on that. We're not sure. We talked about potentially striping it, but
no,
there will still be the curb stop
We need-
parking lot in there like there
we
was.
need stripes.
But if the ground moves, if it's not compact tight enough to where the ground moves, and striping it would be a waste of money, because every time a vehicle drives over a stripe, the lines are gonna move.
Okay, we need somehow to delineate where cars should park.
Right, and we'll do that with the curb stops that we have.
That's cool.
Yes.
Just so there's some, because people will just be parking cattywampus out there.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
I'd like to make an announcement. The library is hosting Cat in the Hat Saturday from 10:30 to 11:30.
We're gonna have a cat.
The cat in the
That's a
hat.
We better have a
surprise.
cat.
All right, Mayor, that's all I have, sir.
Okay. Mayor's report, I don't have anything, so. With that being said, we are adjourned. The time is 7:20.
Thank you, Alan.
Y'all are welcome. See you next time.